I'll let everyone in on a little secret. So I'm incredibly lazy when it comes to a lot of like personal hygiene things. Not to say that like I smell bad. I mean, I may. No one has really told me that I smell bad, except my girlfriend, but I don't really believe her because I think she's just messing with me. Maybe not. Now that I say that out loud, she might be the only person telling me the truth. So I don't know. At least my dog still loves me, I think. Anyways, so I use November as an excuse to not shave. And I usually start not shaving in like September and just like roll it over. And then it's just laziness and it just keeps growing and growing. And then eventually gets to a point where I have to like comb it and brush it and like go to the barber and stuff. And then like out of laziness, I'll just cut it off. And it's just vicious cycle of beard. Yeah, no complaints though, because like I can grow a pretty sick beard and a lot of people wish they could. So sorry about that, everybody that can't do it.
Bob Lou talks to me all the time about how he wishes he could grow a really big man beard.
He would look awesome with a beard. But
he sometimes tells me he does this.
Yeah.
He goes, "This is 3 weeks of hard work." And you're like,
so what if I save all my beard hair over the year and just like mail it to him in a bag?
It'd be great. It's like hair extensions for your face.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm helping Bob Lou out. The Bob Lou's of the world. In Des Moines, Iowa. Des Moines, Iowa. Okay. Hey, podcast number 7.4. I don't know what number this is. I'm never going to keep track. It'll be in the show notes. I'm also going to keep talking about the show notes.
The show notes.
I'll use the buzzwords and catchphrases that people use when they talk about or when they talk on their podcasts. I remember when podcasts weren't really a thing.
Yeah.
And it was like there was the whole reason I got in. So here we go. The whole reason that I got into this field was because I listened to podcasts about strength and conditioning and figured out what it was. Like this guy, Kevin Larrabee, who's actually a friend of mine now, interestingly enough, worked with Mike Boyle. And he had a podcast that he created 2007, maybe 2006. And it was just about fitness. And I finally figured out what this was around then, 2007, 2008. And here we are. Now I'm talking to you on a podcast about podcasts. This is a very meta moment for us, everyone. Okay. Yeah, what's the point?
So the other day I was listening to this podcast and man, it was crazy. They were talking about how podcasts weren't a thing. But they listened to a podcast and started to understand podcasts and then podcasted. And
well, I did. It's interesting because looking back now, the things that we're doing on this podcast, I learned about on that podcast, which kind of directed me towards the profession that this podcast is pertaining to. So it's like, right. Hey, what a mind. It's just like mind bottling. You take your mind and you put it in a bottle.
You throw it to sea. Return from whence you came.
Floating away. Yeah. People send questions to the Facebook group that we could talk about, or we could just let me like air my.
You have a grievance against yourself.
So I have a grievance with myself. This is a bit of a Festivus airing of grievances, but just with myself. So. This will be the moment where Vo will put a little like overlay of the Train Like a Pro thing. Maybe he'll cut away and like show a clip of me talking about it. But we talked about backside mechanics, and then we talked about like prevalence of ACL injuries and hamstring tears. So what I was saying there was meant to be provocative and make people stop and think for a second. But in reality, that was like 1 to 2 seconds of like how many hours of filming we were doing in San Diego in the hot sun. And what I meant to say was Achilles. Just talking about like posterior chain, like the hamstrings, all these like contiguous tissues kind of run into each other. And if you overload them to a degree and you aren't using proper mechanics, you can have them kind of working out of sync with how, normal gait mechanics are supposed to work. So you can lead to more of an issue with possible Achilles tears. So that is kind of what I was trying to get at. There is like an indirect relationship with ACL tears, but for me to say, from the way that I talked about it, it would lead people to believe that I was saying that there's a direct relationship between backside mechanics and ACL tears, which is not what I was trying to say. So I apologize for that. But it did make a lot of people pay attention, enough so that they either reached out to me personally or posted on their Facebook about what sort of bullshit that I was spouting. I don't want to be a part of that. And obviously the things, George Box said that all models are wrong, but some of them are useful. So a lot of the things that you're hearing from, medical providers and fitness professionals and myself and Goose, like, we're wrong ultimately with what we're saying, but that doesn't mean that the things we're providing aren't useful and won't actually be the best possible thing that you can be doing to progress towards your goals. So just wanted to throw that out there for everybody. If anyone wants to follow me personally about it, I didn't mean to say that people are tearing ACLs because they're using backside mechanics. Is that fair?
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah. But I will say that if you are running incorrectly, you are going to you are going to mess yourself up. So you can fake beat me like you did last time. When everyone clearly knew what I said. I don't know if you can do you rate podcasts on iTunes and stuff?
I don't know if this gets an explicit rating or not.
I think there's family friendly or not. But yeah, if you run with backside mechanics, you're not going to get cancer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to come across like that. But if you run poorly, something bad's going to happen. Okay. So much of what we do is focused on running mechanics, and I'm pretty well trained in it. I'm not going to say I'm the best in the world, because a lot of people would say that, but I have a good amount of experience with helping people running, with running. And one of my mentors is very good at coaching running. So, we've helped a lot of people. So the results.
Really, really just taking a back seat to yourself there.
I don't know. What do you want me to say?
I have helped people run. And
yeah, well, people
past and will.
I don't know if you know this. I don't know. I think you know this now, but people are very bad at running.
Yeah.
Very bad. And I was one of those people for many years.
Yeah.
And I suffered from hamstring tears and Achilles problems. And a lot of it was because I just ran incorrectly.
Yeah.
So too low to the grounds. My foot strike is too far in front. It's ending up too far behind me. Talking about physics, longer ground contact times, the actual mechanics of my gait and my foot change with that long of a ground contact. You have a problem. You become reliant more upon loading strategies instead of propulsive strategies. When I need to have a balance there, it's just, you're going to have a bad time.
I will not air a grievance, but I will admit something. I've recently been playing very, very, very low level pickup. And so on Sunday afternoons, there's this group called the Navigators. It's I think it's a Christian group of Navy people around the island. And there's this guy, Ned, who will remain anonymous.
Is his name Ned?
Yeah.
Okay, well hey Ned, welcome. You're on the podcast and we're going to talk about you.
He's told me he's had a series of hamstring, he's had something like 4 hamstring tears, actual tears, went and got MRIs and there was actual tearing as opposed to, pulled it or I tweaked my hamstring. He keeps doing it. And just watching him run, that he's going to keep doing it until he fixes his gait, until you fix the orientation of his hips to his thorax. You can just see it. You can see he's just dumped out in front, and he's a super explosive person. Played a lot of football, but he's just got all the classic. It's basically where I was headed probably.
So he's the opposite of what I was saying. He's not loaded. He's not sunk. He's actually up and forward. So he's propelling. He's like running on two springs that are oriented in the wrong direction to drive him forwards. He is a propulsive monster.
Yeah.
But that's, if you're like we talk about, like if you're all gas pedal and no brakes,
yeah,
you're also going to have a bad time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is though, like his foot is on the ground for a long time, but especially behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about that in one of the Train Like a Pros with the 40 guys running, right?
Yep.
Position, ground contact, backside mechanics, giving people cancer. It's the things that we like to talk about here. I apologize to anyone that has cancer. I really shouldn't make jokes about that, but like everything these days.
Yeah, well, if it makes everyone feel better, this weekend I'm going to play in a hat tournament called Huck Cancer. So I'm going to spend money for cancer.
There we go. So we can say whatever we want now.
We're offsetting it totally, 100%. Yeah.
So we're going after people with cancer. We're going after puppies. We're going after putt-putt golfers. So interestingly enough, the internet listens to me and talking to people. So it directed me towards a YouTube video of the Putt Putt Championship from like 1984. Those guys can ball, man. those guys, like Jim Smith from somewhere in Montana. It's really good at the Putt Putt Skins tournament.
Yeah. Did you hear any more like clarification between putt putt and mini golf? Did you hear?
Putt putt, I think, is the brand, and mini golf is what it actually is.
Yeah. Well, one of them is like a specific course, right? That never changes. Mini golf is the elaborate one.
At the point where they had this telecast, they said there was 10,000 in the world. And this was like 1986. I can't imagine they're still that. You know what? You know who knows the answer to this?
Google.
Professor Google. I don't even know if putt-putt is a real thing anymore.
It has to be.
How many putt-putt franchises are in the world? Okay, so that's still a thing.
Hopefully Vo puts on like some after effects of like some hold music.
No, he's like phoning it in these days. He's getting pulled in too many directions.
Yeah.
It would be funny though if he was able to put a GIF of like Stretch Armstrong as I said that. We should do him a favor and direct all of the things that we want him to do and then see how many of them he actually does.
Yeah, that does him a huge favor.
Yeah. I'm all about making Vo's life easy. I can't even say it. The bane of that guy's existence. I can't wait until I go through this preseason program and I tell him all the things that he has to change. He's literally going to like tear his hair out. He's going to punch a hole in his laptop. Like, oh yeah, like you have to change all of phase one. I actually wrote the wrong numbering for the rest times. Right. What else do we need to talk about? Oh, we're having a fire sale again.
Yeah.
So this is important to talk about. I don't have any like good lighting anymore because it's dark outside, and it's 4:40, so that makes sense. Thanks, America. So overwhelming response from people fear of missing out. They didn't want the sale to end for Black Friday. Some people missed it, asking when we're going to do another one, if we're going to do any more training packages. We're going to do a Christmas sale. So yes, we have something coming for you at the end of this week or whenever Vo can manage to get this podcast out. Might have been 2 days ago at this point. I don't know. But there's going to be another sale. We still have inventory for our gear. We have cool new discs. We don't have shirts that Goose is wearing. So sorry about it.
Yeah, we're out of hoodies.
We will, and we will keep you up to date about that. But they are pretty sweet. We're gonna have training packages again. Preseason enrollment will be open for between the 14th and the following Friday, which I am not stalling to check, is the 21st, because I couldn't have done the math in my head to figure out what 14 plus 7 is.
It's tough. Hey, who's that enrollment?
It's been a long week. What?
Who's that enrollment period for?
It's going to be, so the enrollment will be open for college. We will have a special 6-week preseason to help anyone that's lagging behind in their training or wants to jump in with us to get ready for their February tournaments or their late January tournaments. It will also be for high school, pro, and masters players. Club players, we have your preseason coming in February. Right. So you guys will have to wait a little bit longer for that. But yeah, what else? Oh, we'll also have off season, the 6-week off season that will be able to be open for club players as well. So you guys, club players, don't have to wait. Actually, if you haven't jumped into the off season yet and you want to get on board into the program, you'll have the opportunity to do a 6-week off season program that will run from mid-December until February, where you will be able to jump into the preseason and get ready to own your athleticism with us.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's great. I mean, we're giving everyone an opportunity that people were asking us for. We realized that like our marketing penetration isn't super, diverse yet. It's not really as large as we'd like it to be. So some people are just hearing about this and they want to get on board. So we're going to give as many opportunities as we can in this first year here to let people in. Once we're through our first year, we will be having set enrollment periods. So there won't be a lot of these opportunities. Plus the prices, these introductory prices that we have currently are not going to stay around forever. So we want to make sure we set everyone's expectations early on with the program as it develops. So we're very thankful for everyone that's jumped on with us in the early days of this. The training community has been great. It's been very helpful for everyone from our end and from the training end to be able to share their experiences together and learn together in the Facebook group. And we're doing great things, and we're glad that everyone that's with us is on board.
Also, premium enrollment is always open.
It's always open. Yeah. Don't forget. Remember that premium enrollment is always open.
That will not be a running joke that continues on our podcast.
See, I don't care about inside jokes are great. I'm not even going to tell people why that's funny. We're going to say it all the time. And then eventually you're going to feel like you're part of something.
That's right. Hey, I have good news. Speaking of podcasts,
I can't tell if this is genuine or not.
This is mostly genuine. We have somebody that we already referred to earlier in this podcast, but without referencing his name, interested in being on our podcast. There's a gentleman by the name of Derek Hansen. Who would like to be a guest on our podcast. So
he's just going to make fun of me the whole time.
That's great. That's I don't know why anybody wants anything more out of him than that.
I would love to have Derek on the
world's leading sprint coaches, but
so people can believe me when I know him. It's not just me saying that oh yeah, I went to a course one time and Derek was there and I shook his hand. That's not what I mean.
I watched him eat pizza from across the room.
Yeah. I've been creepily following him on Instagram. No, him and I are friends. He's stayed at my house. He's pet my dog. Yeah, I'm going to spend time with him in Vancouver next year. Get off me, bro.
So yeah, you actually do know what you're talking about when it comes
Santa.
to you're friends with a guy.
I know him.
I know him. Elf.
I know him.
That might be it. That might bring us to a nice little close here. A short episode
Did we cover everything we wanted to cover?
Yeah.
How much time have we even been talking for?
Long enough, it feels like.
That hurts my feelings.
Besides,
I'm in a fever. I'm in a fever dream state over here, and this is just the opportunity for pure podcasting gold.
I've got stuff I've got to take to the post office.
I have to go do shipping and receiving.
I've got to send stuff off, man. people have ordered things and they want to wear them, and I don't know.
All right. So we talked about the Festivus sale.
Yep.
We aired some grievances
Against ourselves.
Yeah, against myself.
Yeah. I have one that I could air against myself really quickly. There was, and maybe our very first podcast, we were talking about tempo runs, and we were talking about how you calculate the distance and time. And at one point or another, I referenced like saying you multiply like 1.3 times the amount of time, and it should have been 1.42. I was just throwing a
because we're bad at math.
Yeah, but two of you caught it, and
that's
and
great.
we heard about it, which is good. Like, we don't want to actually have bad maths.
And we're not perfect.
No, it's not anywhere on the site. It was just casually mentioned in a podcast. So as far as like,
well, we had it. Didn't we have it wrong on the site at 1.2?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not even once.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're basically infallible now.
Yeah. We'd only been prescribing up until now what's coming up to be the preseason tempo runs in the form of time anyway.
Yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, so the calculation that was needed was more relevant when it came to figuring out the time you needed to run it if you were delegated or if you were prescribed a distance you were supposed to cover.
Right.
So that will become a relevant calculation for people coming up, but it's in the website and it's in Team Builder correctly. So
yeah,
y'all don't have to worry about that in your maths. We got you covered.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Everything has been now covered. We're great.
I think great.
Great.
I'm great.
Yeah.
Carl's great.
Hey, in the social medias, if you'd like us to be interviewing people other than the top strength or speed coaches in the world, let us know. Like, would you like us to? I think somebody even threw out there maybe having elite athletes come on and talk. But if that's something that you're interested in, we do actually want to give the people what they want to some extent. Maybe not when it comes to their workouts, we're going to give you what we want. But when it comes to like content and whatnot, we are very open to suggestions. So keep those coming.
We'll do anything once.
Anything.
Anything.
All right. What's our cold close? Do we have one?
I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's ever been a thing.
It's not.
We have a cold close. I think we're pretty warmed up.
Our cold close for today will be: if you ever have an intestinal parasite, taking diatomaceous earth could be a possible solution.
Let's not plug
inside of your stomach.
Remedies.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna finish this.
No, we're not. Please don't post that. So the best way to cold close would be like while I'm talking right now, Vo just cuts it and like just puts like the GPP logo and then just trails off with some music. Man, I would love to eat a pizza right now.
Ruby Rosa?